Over the past few years, the popularity in certain gaming feats, such as speedruns or difficult challenges, has become more and more popular. This involves a player purposefully hindering themselves in a game to add an extra pinch of challenge and, at the end, see if they can achieve the impossible. However you choose to play, this is an incredible feat in gaming. However, some people go a little bit further than others and take extreme to a whole new level. And yes, that includes the time that someone decided to complete Dark Souls using a guitar controller. Hello, welcome to Brain Spill, laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and today we're talking about the Dark Souls series. In particular, the weird and crazy ways that people have played the game to purposefully give themselves an extra challenge, and also test your sanity because, oh my god, the game is just as hard as it is normally without making it even harder on yourself. So yes, there are a whole ton of games I could have talked about where people have purposely made the game harder for themselves in order to give themselves a challenge. But the reason we're focusing on the Dark Souls franchise is that it has a large following. It's a good game, and even though it's not the most difficult game ever made, nobody can argue that it isn't a stiff challenge in itself, even before you purposefully hinder yourself further. So yeah, that's why we look to people who either have too much time on their hands or are just crazy enough to try something like this, which just goes beyond any realm of sensibleness. I don't really know what word to use here, but you wouldn't catch me doing this, put it that way. We should probably talk about the title of the video and go into detail of when people decide to play a game using an unconventional controller. Most gamers would either use a controller or a keyboard and mouse, but other game titles may have specific controllers for their games, such as a steering wheel or a flight stick for a flight sim game. Controllers, which technically would work if it was configured correctly, was made specifically for a certain theme or game in mind, meaning that if you were to say plug in a Rock Band controller and play Dark Souls, the two weren't ever meant to go together, adding to a certainly difficult game to make it even harder. You're going to be hitting frets and pulling that whammy bar to control your character in a very unconventional way. Benjamin Gwyn, otherwise known as Beardsley, was the first, as far as we know, to take up this challenge, and after being inspired by other people who were taking their gaming to the next level, the Rock Band controller called to him, and he picked up his guitar and plugged in to play Dark Souls. Even though the controller was pretty much only made to play games like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, he managed to configure the controller so he could control his character in the Dark Souls game using the various buttons and chords on the controller itself. Beardsley did this by mapping the guitar to move forward with the whammy bar, and the chords on the neck of the guitar are mapped to attack, roll and use items. You get the idea. Movement is done via movement in the guitar. Swinging it left and right will turn the camera, meaning that you'd be moving around a lot more than perhaps if you were just using a standard controller. So not only are you playing a game which is difficult in itself, but you're now playing with a version of the game where you have to relearn the controls with an entirely new controller and persist with it throughout the entire playthrough. Oh my god, that is some dedication. And yes, this has become more and more popular more recently, with many more people taking up this challenge and many others like it. Streamers and other gamers have started to take up these challenges, trying out these extraordinary playthroughs and taking their difficulty to a whole new level. Funny thing is if this was me, I could probably barely beat Dark Souls with a normal controller, let alone playing on a Guitar Hero controller. Honestly, would probably just smash my guitar there and then on the floor and throw my TV out the window, but this guy's obviously just built differently. He manages this over the course of many hours, slowly but surely learning the game and how the controller works, to learn the fights and, after a number of attempts, roll headfirst into the fight. That and wearing a heavy Havel armor set and halberd for its reach. This seems to do the trick. What's even more impressive about this with Beardsley, however, is that not only has he completed the game using this Rock Band guitar, but he's also completed the game with 8 other controllers as well, and many of these are not standard controllers. Yes, he holds the world record for the most alternative control methods used to complete Dark Souls. This was achieved in 2016, and no, I'm not lying, this is an actual world record someone holds. The list includes a Rock Band guitar peripheral, Rock Band drum kit, Rock Band piano, Donkey Kong Conga bongo drums, microphone, a Wiimote, a dance mat, a steering wheel, and an Xbox 360 pad. So let's just have a quick run through of this, because of course we've already talked about the guitar. If you're playing drums, I can imagine you mercilessly beating those pads with your drumsticks. No, don't take that out of context. I can imagine you'll get pretty tired pretty quickly. The piano and the bongos are pretty much the same thing, except you're just doing the tapping away, which again is probably quite tiring in itself. The Wiimote, whilst a hassle, can still be used as a normal controller, so that's probably not the end of the world. The worst part of it is probably any sort of motion control if that is being used to play the game. Because we all know how fantastic the Wiimote motion is. Every time you play Wii bowling and swing it in a certain direction, you can get a strike every time. If you know what I'm talking about, then I got you. And then we move on to the dance mat. Yes, playing Dark Souls on a dance mat. You can literally dance on the corpse of your enemies, and well, I'm not gonna lie, if I was gonna be using any of these controllers, this would be the one that would stunt me the most. Mainly because I can't do dance mats anyway, let alone functioning it to play Dark Souls. For this, he did report that it was very tiring for long periods of time, mainly because he had to be stood on one leg to hold down a certain direction to move around, which I can imagine is not good for you. And with jelly legs like mine, I would have been all over the place. DDR is not my cup of tea, and well, I can't even keep my own balance, let alone coordinate myself in any meaningful way. The next one was the steering wheel, which again I can imagine is very much like most other controllers, where it's just going to take a bit of time to get used to it and basically learn how to play the game again. I can imagine this guy's practiced with these controllers mercilessly, meaning that after some time, if he replugged back in one of these controllers, I can imagine it's like muscle memory, that he can literally pick the game back up and carry on playing it like it was yesterday. Although this one scares me, mainly because I think I'd accidentally pull my wheel to the right when driving down the highway in real life, forgetting that I'm not playing Dark Souls anymore and I'm actually driving a car. So I'd rather give that one a miss, thanks. The last two are probably the strangest of all. One was the microphone, which again it makes you wonder, how on earth can you play the game with a microphone? You don't actually have any physical buttons you can press to play the game. What, did he swing the mic like a sword? No, he used the voice capabilities in the microphone to give his commands to play the game. So he was playing the game basically by telling the game how to move, which is a little strange, as I can imagine you're basically just shouting forward, forward, attack, roll, 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 roll. I can only imagine. And I can imagine his neighbours loved it too, with him shouting out commands all night long, and, well, it must have been bad on his throat. And last but not least, he completed the game with an Xbox 360 pad, which doesn't sound strange at all. The caveat to this was that he completed it with one finger. Yeah, he completed Dark Souls with a single finger. Some people have too much time on their hands, or on their finger. So, how on earth did he achieve this? Well, aside from being emotionally and mentally ironclad, he actually has a background in computing, meaning that for many of the more unconventional controllers, like the bongos, he had a custom program that helped control the game, something which many other people just weren't capable of doing. Meaning that this knowledge has provided an edge in being able to program multiple controllers in a way that's allowed him to beat the game in so many different ways, and with this many controllers under his belt, has given him the world title. It's my favourite game, and I know it very well. It's also notoriously difficult, but when I wanted to show everyone that a game this challenging could still be reduced down to being beaten with a guitar controller, or any other controller. For the guitar and drums, I used existing tools to make them work. Others, like the bongos, I wrote custom software for because the bongos don't have enough buttons. I have a programming background which enables me to create runs that nobody else could accomplish. So basically what you're telling me is that if you ever wanted to have a shot at this world record, you'd need the technical programming ability to program all the controllers you need to attempt the record. You need to be very well versed with the game and know exactly what you're doing, and also have the patience of a saint. 3 things I certainly don't have, and well, you know, I've just got to give the guy props because very well deserved, and you know, and it's just crazy to think about. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. Honestly, talking about this just makes me want to play my guitar again, and no, not to actually play any music on it, but just to see if I can hook it up to my Xbox and see if I can play Dark Souls on it. I think that would be pretty sweet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.